It's Paul Bosco with What's Cooking. Hopefully you are having a great day. So the other day, a friend of mine, J.R. Legge, who's a realtor over at Keller Williams, posted a video by Gordon Ramsay, and it was just too good not to try. So I'm going to give my own attempt at it and see if it's as easy as Gordon Ramsay makes it out to be. So my pan is preheated. It's pretty simple. Oh, and by the way, this is Braised Beef Short Ribs. It ought to be awesome. So just a little bit of olive oil in the pan. So we're gonna brown it just for maybe a minute or two on each side, just to kind of sear it a little bit, get a little bit of extra flavor as it's cooking. All right, so we've been going about 1 or 2 minutes on each side, so it's looking good. It is, I think I had it brown pretty much everywhere. Might just a minute or two on one of those. Okay, that's about done. We are gonna add, I don't know, I'm gonna say 1 giant heaping spoon of tomato paste, and we're just gonna cook that in there just a little bit. And I would not have thought to do that. I'm just putting the garlic in a hole like that. I meant to cut it in half. Mine fell apart, so already I'm not as good as Gordon, but that's okay. And we're gonna leave this in here cooking pretty much the whole time, and we're actually gonna use that when we make our sauce at the end. I'm gonna add some wine now. I don't know, that's maybe a cup of wine. Oh my God, that's already looking pretty good, and it's pretty tasty. Okay, so now I'm gonna add some beef stock. That was about 2 cups of beef stock that I added to that. We're gonna bring that to boil, and we're gonna let it reduce a little bit. All right, so it's already looking pretty amazing. I let the liquid reduce to about half. Turn the heat down, gonna preheat my oven. I should have already done that to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Gonna wrap it in foil, put it in the oven for 2.5 hours, and when it comes out, it's gonna be pretty amazing. Okay, so we've got about 45 minutes left on the braised short ribs, and gonna throw some potatoes in. I've just put a little bit of olive oil on these, salt and pepper, and just a touch of oregano and dill. The recipes, most recipes say cook them for about 30-35 minutes at 425, but because I'm cooking my short ribs at 350, I'm gonna put them in just a few minutes longer. So I'm gonna aim them for 40 minutes or 45 minutes at 350. Maybe they need a few minutes more than that. But anyway, in they go. So just about 15 minutes out before we're gonna take the short ribs out of the oven, and we're gonna start with the garnish right now. The recipe called for pancetta, and I'm just using some thick cut bacon. We're in the South here, so we're gonna use bacon, and my pan's heated, and we're just gonna render this down a little bit before we add the mushrooms. All right, so the bacon is starting to get crispy right now, so we are gonna add the mushrooms. I haven't added any seasoning to the mushrooms. Basically, the only thing seasoning these mushrooms is gonna be the bacon. All right, so I think I probably waited a little long to put my mushrooms in there. I'm gonna break them into smaller pieces using this strange thing. It's not made for crushing mushrooms, but it does work. And it's gonna help my mushrooms cook a little bit faster, because I don't want my bacon to burn. And I am more worried about having burnt bacon than I am pretty mushrooms. Sorry, Gordon Ramsay's probably looking at me going, what the hell is he doing with the mushrooms? But trust me, it's gonna work. It's gonna taste the same, it's just not gonna look as pretty. All right, so the moment of truth. Let's see how my beef ribs look. Almost wish I had a little bit more juice in there. It's really cooked down. The meat just absorbed a lot of it, it looks like. I'm gonna take the garlic out, as much of the garlic out as I can. We're gonna use this for something a little bit later. All right, so I wanna pour all this juice. I'm gonna pour it through this sieve. I wish I had a smaller bowl, because let's face it, they made a mess. So I basically have the garlic in here, and I'm pushing it through the sieve just to make my sauce a little bit thicker, a little bit more flavorful. Okay, hold on here. I'm gonna interrupt the video right here. So when I started this cooking series, I made a commitment that we're gonna keep it real, right? So we're gonna cook some great food, and sometimes we're gonna make some mistakes. Well, today is one of those times. So the braised short beef ribs, the meat itself, it came out perfect. It was cooked just right, it was tender, it was juicy, it had great flavor.
Where I completely destroyed it was the sauce. For starters, I absolutely did not have enough liquid in the pan, and then when it was cooking in the oven, most of the steam evaporated out of the pan, and there was just a little bit of liquid left in the pan, and most of it was just fat that had rendered off the beef itself. So there's definitely a few things I could have done better. The first one is really just needed to have more water in the pan. I could have added more in the beginning, or maybe I just should have checked it partway through to see if I still had enough liquid in there, and I could have added some partway through the cook, which I did not. And I think the other thing is when I had got the short ribs, I put all of them in there, the big ones, the small ones. I did not trim them up at all. The larger ones were perfect, just they had the right amount of fat in them. The smaller ones, however, they had a little extra fat on them, and I probably should have either trimmed them down significantly or maybe just left the small ones out altogether. By leaving them in there and not trimming it down, I had way too much fat in the pan, and I think even if I had more liquid, there still would have been too much fat in the pan. So anyway, the beef ribs themselves, they still tasted great, just really had to keep the sauce off. The mushroom bacon, it was fantastic. I will absolutely do that again. So good, we're keeping it real. Today was, I'm gonna say just a partially fail, because the ribs and the mushroom bacon actually came out quite tasty. It was just the gravy, I just destroyed it. It was no good. So there you go, we're keeping it real. So thanks for tuning in again. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot from this one. Again, if you're looking on my YouTube channel, that's where you should be watching, click like. Even though I destroyed the sauce today, you know, we still had fun, right? More importantly though, click that subscribe button, because we're gonna have a new video come out every single Sunday, and I'm looking forward to put more content out, and we're gonna get better and better as we keep doing this. So stay tuned, there's more to come. I'm Paul Bosco, and you're watching What's Cooking.